What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 71 of Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we got about just over 22-minute episode, so we're going to be picking up right where we left off, working on the exterior of our saucer, and then we're also going to be hopping in and working on the bridge area. So without further ado, let's kick back, relax, we're going to dive right into it. So we're going to be going off of our top oval line that we added in the last couple of episodes, and we're going to be doing a line of half slabs. And the reason I'm doing this, I was talking about in the last episode, I'm just carrying over our design cues. Talk about this all the time, you know, and it's no different when you're working with the outside of the ship. And you might ask yourself, I'm like, well, like, is it a design cue? I'm like, well, not necessarily. It's more of a building cue. But the same principle applies, that as we're going from row to row, we're completing the same exact template, more or less, where we're doing the gray concrete followed by the half slabs in front. So just want to make sure that that's consistent on all three of our layers. As long as we do that, we're in good shape. Now you're probably asking yourself at this point why the cut here in the center isn't a little bit bigger. Not gonna lie, this was one area, don't like it right there, but no, I did have a little bit of difficulty with that, getting that area right where it needed to be. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt. No matter what I did as I cut into my hull lines, it just didn't look quite as good as I wanted it to. So basically what I was just trying to figure out, because I was looking at the rest of my ship, looking at the template as far as what I wanted to do. So at this point I made the decision, instead of doing half slabs, to switch that to full slabs and see how that looks. Because again, you know, dealer's choice, just trying out different things. Because what we could do at this point is, once we've done the full row of white, we can come back and then we can do half slabs in front of that. I want to make sure both of these sides match up here, so we're going to have to make that same change. I'll pop over this side one more time just to make sure I went 2 out on that side. All right. So now I'm just going to go with the cut line, do the half slabs going all the way around. Normally I wouldn't do this live, but it's such a small oval. This will only take a second or two to bang it out, so we're just going to go ahead and do that right now. And see what that does, it kind of lightens it up a little bit, because that gray line right there is kind of messing with me. This is the thing we want to do too, you know, looking at your ship from different angles. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the ship from the top, side, left, right, to get a feel for how the saucer is shaping up in comparison to our reference material and concept art, whatever you're using. Anyway, now we're going to be shifting gears, and we're going to be getting some work done on the outside of the shuttle bay, doing some line work. We're actually also going to be popping in and working on the exterior of the saucer deflector dish, as well as working on the bridge. Almost forgot about that. I kind of like that line going all the way around. And while again, you know, it's not necessarily perfectly accurate to Voyager in that regard with that line, Sometimes, you know, you got to take little tiny liberties here and there, and to me that line just kind of complements the build a little bit more, adds in just a little bit more detail. But we don't want to go super crazy with our build lines, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at Voyager, she's a very clean ship, and want to kind of preserve that as much as we can. So we're just going to be making a slight tweak to the sides here, and then bringing it, we're keeping it the same width, we're just bringing it back just a little bit further. You're probably wondering, like, oh crap, what about the circuitry up there? Well, if we have to move it a little bit further back, the saucer, we can do that. That's not a big deal. All right, so now we're going to be swapping out this row here for the white quartz half slabs. Looks pretty good. Swap those out too. We're going to take this whole front row off. Take that next row off as well. That looks pretty good. Makes the deflector dish just a little bit bigger up here. It looked, well, I think what was messing with me is that the deflector dish was just a little small. I felt like we needed to make it just a little bit bigger. And what we're doing at this point, not very complicated, pretty cut and dry. We're just taking our template and we're just bringing it a little bit further back. That's all we're doing here. I feel like, especially when I first started building ships in Minecraft, I felt like in some ways I was overcomplicating it and overthinking it. And that's why sometimes, you know, you just gotta, if you think that you're putting too much time into something, or maybe it's not coming out the way that you want, maybe you just stop, take a break, take a look at it and be like, well, what am I really trying to accomplish here? And in this case, we want to move back the saucer deflector. So easiest fix with that, we're just going to move it back, the outline of it, and we can take that same template now, we can build it right there. Yeah, we'll have to fix the circuit board, but that's all good. All right, so now that we got this thing moved back, let's go ahead and we're going to add in our detailing. Now, I mean, if you want to take this chance to change it up, do something different, go for it. You know, who cares? Do whatever makes you happy. A lot of different things that we could do. Even bring this back by one just to give it some depth. So what we'll do is we'll put a block there. This way we can pop off something. There we go. Get rid of the other one. See how that looks. Doesn't look terrible. Can even make that a little bit wider if we wanted to. I want to try this going in by one row. Just see how that looks. So I'll have a little bit of a lip on it. I want to maintain that lip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the cut line going along the walls there. So just want to make sure we're not building on top of those blocks. This way we have those openings on each sides. See how that looks. Doesn't look too bad. What would be better is if we had a row of blocks, how we have coming out on each side down here, if they're coming out up top too. That would be ideal, I think. But I don't think that we're going to be able to pull that off with the shape of the deflector dish. I just don't think it's going to be in the cards. Alright, we got one more row to do on this. Looking pretty good. And now we're just going to clean it up a little bit. Keeping our row of 2. Want to make sure that that pattern is maintained. Let's see how that looks. We can get rid of the blue now down here. We don't really need that. Not showing on the outside. Could even do like a cut line here going down the middle. That could be cool. We could do maybe half slabs. That could be a possibility. A lot of cool things that we could do here. That's why I say sometimes, you know, like if you're not feeling what I'm doing, switch it up, you know. Why not? So we're just going to throw down the half slabs and see how that looks. May not need it, you know. If you want it, go for it. It's there. If you don't like it, get rid of it. But I definitely think that helps making that deflector dish is a little bit longer going back. But the sacrifice with that is that now we're going to have to make some adjustments to the circuit board that's directly behind it, but we will knock that out before the end of season 1. I'm just going to add in a little bit of detailing here right behind the bridge. I don't know if I like those 2 blocks like that because it's without the something up here. Yeah, there we go. Because now it almost looks like you can attach something from back here and you have a walkway that can go into the bridge area. I want to do those, change that bottom block to the light gray. This way it looks like you're walking onto like a paneling or something like that. That doesn't look too bad. We're just knocking this stuff out one step at a time. We're looking pretty good now. We're going to be shifting gears over into the bridge. Trying to get a little bit more detailing done. I'm going to add in some of the thin black glass going behind our command console, or command chairs I should say. We're just going to mess with this a little bit here. We're still not done in the bridge even once we do this, because we're going to have to build those cubby consoles on each side of the bridge. That's one thing that we're still missing, but we are going to get those in too. And like, I can't wait for you guys to see it. Well, those of you that saw the very first episode of this, where I did the tour, you got a chance to see it. If you have it, go ahead and check it out. Or if you don't want to be surprised, just, continue on this journey with me. We're almost done. We only got a couple of episodes left until Voyager Season 1 is completed. It's crazy. But this has actually been a really fun build, I'm not going to lie. I've truly enjoyed it, and I'm glad I pushed myself to actually get into it. I don't like those blocks in the end because of what I have going on here. The flow of them, it's not right. So you'd either have to make a decision here and swap out these 3 blocks and have their placement point going off the wall, or build placement off the left or the right to make them go sideways. I hope to God I don't have that on my current build. Thank God. I have faith in myself because I fixed it. Very good. Because that would have irked me until I fixed it. And I'm still slipping. I've slipped almost. They're not matching. They're both going in the same pattern on the left and right, but they're not matching the front. And to me, that's a problem I'm going to have to fix. Because, well, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's going to bother me until I fix it. But sometimes, when you're building, in the moment, you don't catch these little tiny things. It's super easy to critique somebody, or to critique yourself, but in the moment, it may not be that apparent, So I'm going to switch out the color of the chairs instead of making them white. Voyager didn't have white chairs. They didn't necessarily have those kind of reddish ones either. I think that would be closer to like the Next Generation movies. But the darker color ones, I don't know, I didn't like how they were looking, and that's why I haven't used them. But you know what? Not to be somebody that's just, sound like a broken record, but having the full spectrum color range of staircases and half slabs could fix this problem. Mojang. I don't want a mod. I want it in the game, even if I have to pay for it. Because I would do that. I'd be reluctant to, but I would almost do that. Well, I would do that over getting the mod. And the reason I do that is because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but there's a fair share of people out there that don't use the mods. So I want to be able to make these things in a way that anybody can do this, Alright, so now we're going to be slightly shifting gears, still working on the bridge, but now we're going to be working on those cubby holes. So really what I need to do is just take a row off and then go back for the wall. What's going to suck is I'm going to lose a lot of room on the left and right, but you know what, at this point, I'm really not going to have room there anyway to do what I want to do. So at that point, might as well just take advantage of the space in the sides. This is probably the one thing that I kick myself every once in a while, because of the scale I build my ships. Every once in a while there's something that I can't do exactly the way I want it to do, right where I want to do it. Doesn't happen very often. It's usually the bridge area seems to be the main point where that ends up happening. And I know some people might be like, hey, just build bigger. I don't like doing that because I do these by myself, and I want to make this obtainable for anybody. That way you can hop on here, you can do it by yourself. Might take a little while, like it does me sometimes. Sometimes I can bang these out pretty quick. Sometimes it takes a minute. But the point is that it's obtainable by yourself, and that's how I want to keep it. So at this point, I'm just trying to figure out the structure of this thing. I'm thinking about going back one more for the consoles, to tuck that back just to give me a little bit more room. Because again, at this point, this room on the sides, it's not really doing us any favors here. So we're just going to use it. This is my perspective on it. I would rather, if I had to make a decision, either have a lesser than bridge with the rooms on the sides that are smaller, lesser than rooms, or have a great bridge and maybe there's one or two things either missing or slightly moved. I'm going to go with the better bridge. Now, again, this is all subjective, dealer's choice. Do whatever you want to do that works for you and the way that you're going to be building Voyager. Because just because I'm doing it this way does not mean that you have to do it this way either. You can do whatever works for you. Now, I do believe this is going to work out exactly how I want it to, because this is what we were missing. These two cubby hole consoles on the left and right side of the bridge that really helps to make Voyager's bridge stand out among other Starship bridges, I think, in my opinion. Combination, just the whole bridge layout in general. You look at these side consoles that they have, the command seating area, and then also the helm. If I'm not mistaken, on Voyager, pretty sure that was like the first ship where they only had one chair in the front, one console. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like I'm 99% sure there was just one, because I only remember Tom Paris in the front. I don't remember anybody else sitting next to him. So if I'm wrong about that, please let me know, and I'll slap myself on the wrist, and maybe in season 2 we'll add in a second chair just to make things more consistent. But I think I'm right about that. I want to bring these lights kind of sort of at an angle. We might do one on each corner, or we can just have them on the sides even. Only on the sides. That might be best. Instead of having it not only on the sides but in the middle, because the changing of the pattern on the sides when you look at it from different angles, I think that's what's messing me up right there. I like that corner cubby console. Don't know if I want it to be 3 back, because it comes very close to the armchair or whatever, or armrest, or whatever you want to call these things I have on the sides. They're just blocks, but I mean, as close as I can do. Now, what I'll do with this, and I just did it now, I end up doing a lot more off camera, but I'll do tests basically. And what those tests are, I'll walk around an area of the ship numerous times to see how much of a pain in the butt it basically is. The way I have it envisioned in my mind is that it should be just consistent from beginning to end, where you're not getting obstructed by anything. So the point that I'm trying to make is that those little tiny cubby holes, we only had 1 block space to walk through. So that's going to be something to consider. Instead of having them 3 blocks, we want to chop them down to 2. This way it opens up our walkway a little bit. And also in that, and just to end on this, it'll also make the ship look a little bit less cluttered. So I don't know what we'll end up doing on that. Let's wait to see what we do in episode 72 and then the rest of season 1. But I do think that's going to wrap it up for me today. I just want to thank you again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button and help supporting the channel. Can't thank you all enough for that. And any questions regarding today's episode, any builds you want to see, or just dropping by to say, hey, definitely love hearing from everybody. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. I hope you all have a happy and safe weekend. I'll catch you in the next episode. And what did you make in Minecraft today? Post your photos in the Discord. I want to see them, and let's post them so the community can see them.